right? Like you have the ability. You brag about this mandate that you have. So lead. What do you need Democrats for? Welcome back to Lurie Daniel. Not welcome to the Lurie Daniel Favors Show on SiriusXM's Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. And we just here on the Urban View Network heard a clip, two clips actually. One that was talking about the realities of what is going to happen in the event that this effort to destroy the economy that the Republicans are on, in the event that that does not actually work. Hold on, I got hair in my face. What we should do about that. And one of the things that we learned from that last clip is Jim McGovern is saying, wait a minute, the Republicans have the House, you've got the Senate, you've got the White House. You talk about this mandate you have. What did he say? We heard him say, put your big boy mandate pants on. Put your big girl mandate pants on. You got a mandate. What you need the Democrats for? You don't need none of our votes to get this continuing resolution. And the reason they're talking about a continuing resolution is because it looks as though the budget talks are not moving along as well as they would like. And what budget talks are we talking about? I'm so glad you asked. We're talking about the budget talks because at the end of this week, as I've been saying 4 weeks, and as have many people, basically this week is the last week of the current continuing resolution. Now, a continuing resolution is basically we're gonna give you like a payday loan. That's like you ain't got no money to pay for the stuff that you done already bought, and your stuff was kind of on layaway. Maybe you took it out of layaway. Maybe you use Klarna instead of layaway, but you need a payday loan to get you through because you ain't made enough money to cover the next stuff that you got to spend. And so the government, when they have these budget conversations, they have to have a budget reconciliation. That means they are going to give themselves enough money to pay for the things that they just put on the American credit card. Well, what the Republicans want to put on the American credit card are permanent tax cuts for their owners, the billionaires and the donors who got a $1.9 trillion tax cut in 2017. Those tax cuts end in 2025. And so by March 14th, Pi Day, March 14th, what the government has to do is either pass a budget that will allow the government to continue funding itself. And if they can't pass a budget, they want to pass this thing called a continuing resolution. We're literally under the coverage of a continuing resolution right now. And that's what ends on March 14th. Now, the reason that they might need to consider a continuing resolution is because part of the budgets that they want to pass requires cuts to everything. And I don't just mean like Medicaid, which we've been talking about. And that's what we heard about in the first clip. Because did you know? I didn't know this. This was news to me. Number one, 60% of the Americans who are in nursing homes or in nursing homes or memory care facilities. 60% of the Americans who are in nursing homes or memory care facilities, meaning they have Alzheimer's, they have dementia, they have some sort of a problem with the brain deterioration or challenges when it comes to maintaining cognitive thought. 60% of the Americans who rely on those services in nursing homes and in these memory care facilities are on Medicaid. And it covers a whole lot of people. And if they cut Medicaid the way they want to cut Medicaid in order to allow for the billionaires to have the tax cuts be made permanent, which again, you can't do unless you make massive cuts to other things, the other things that they want to cut, because they certainly don't want to cut the defense budget. We're going to talk about that in a minute, would be these social safety nets. Now, we have been talking about how the Republicans want to cut Medicaid, Medicare, yes, Social Security, yes. And then we talked about food stamps. And then one of y'all was like, in the YouTube comments, Lurie, don't nobody say food stamps no more. It's like, I was like, what y'all call it? And there was his name, because y'all know how like y'all who get food stamps, and by food stamps, I mean money from the government to pay for food. Back when I was a kid, our food stamps were in these multicolored coupon books. It was kind of like money, but it didn't look like American money. So everybody who was in line behind you or like around you knew that you was on food stamps. It was very embarrassing. I didn't like it at all as a kid, especially when your mom was like, go on to the store and get me da 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 da. I was like, I don't want to pay with food stamps. But now y'all got these fancy little cards, these debit cards, these EBT sort of cards. You ain't got to go through the suffering and the pain that we did when we was coming up on food stamps and living in shelters. I'm not bitter. I'm actually glad. I think this is something that should have happened a long time ago. But we knew that they were planning to cut food stamps, because it's always going to be food stamps. Mama named food stamps, I'm going to call it food stamps. So we knew they wanted to cut food stamps. But y'all, we got news yesterday that the United States Department of Agriculture is also canceling $1 billion in local food purchasing for schools and food banks. The states that receive these monies have been told that they will not receive 2025 funding for schools to buy from nearby farms. So the USDA has these two programs that would give you money if you were a school or a food bank where you could go and buy food from local farmers and ranchers. It benefits the schools, it benefits the food banks, and it benefits the local farmers and ranchers. And it comes to approximately $1 billion in federal spending. Now, according to Politico, about $660 million that schools and childcare facilities typically rely upon in order to be able to purchase this food from nearby farms through a program called Local Food for Schools Cooperative Agreement Program. That money has been canceled. It's been canceled. According to the report, state officials were told on Friday of the USDA's decision to end this program. And now they have more than 40 states that have signed agreements to participate in previous years. So that's more than half, that's nearly all the states. Nearly every state in the union, save the 10, but nearly 40 states in the country have signed up for this program to get access to money to be able to buy from local farmers. So the reality is this is the same governing body. It should not be a surprise for anybody who's been following Republican politics. Remember 2 summers ago, or was it last summer? Time is a flat circle. No, it was 2 summers ago when Republican governors in Republican-led states where they own both the House and the state Senate and the governorship, places where they have a trifecta, Republican governors refused federal money to buy summer lunch programs for kids, to pay for summer lunch programs, to pay for summer food programs. One Republican governor who is like a grandmother was like, there's way too much obesity in our childhood population. They don't need the food. Girl, is you crazy? Like, do you know half the reason we got as much obesity in poor communities as we do is because they know grocery stores and all they got is hot Takis and Cheeto Puffs and soda pop. I really aged myself with the soda pop. Soda pop. So my grandma. Soda pop. So the point is, Republicans, their governing philosophy is one of cruelty that says if you don't work, you don't eat. And we don't care. We don't care. They don't care if you don't work and you don't eat. Die. Go to jail. Private prisons will be right there to scoop you up. So these programs, which were created under the Biden administration so that local schools and food banks could buy food from local farmers, it's a way of keeping American dollars recycled in the American economy. It's good for everybody who is participatory. They were like, we don't like it. It's giving away food from farmers who right now are dealing with what is happening in China because China has implemented retaliatory tariffs. So against not just American products generally, but against agricultural products in particular, according to the Financial Times. And it's retaliatory tariffs that are designed to cause harm to the Republicans and people who live in rural communities because China ain't stupid. They ain't stupid. They got a lot going on, but they ain't stupid. And essentially, these retaliatory tariffs are like, you want to play with us? We're going to play with you. So American farmers need places to sell food right now. American farmers need places that are going to purchase food crops from them because they're losing customers. They done lost contracts with Canada. They're losing contracts with Mexico. And they're losing a lot of contracts with China. Because China's like, we're not here for the games. We're older than you. You are our sons. We're older than you. And so this is where we're at right now. And what's interesting about all of this is that in addition to canceling this $1 billion in local food purchasing, in addition to Donald Trump this weekend indicating, yeah, it might be a recession. It just might be, but it's going to be huge. It's going to be great. I'm just reminded that this is what they promised. This is people out there talking about, I can't believe that the man I voted for is doing. He told you he was going to do this. Donald Trump and elongated muskrat promised you that this is what they were going to do. Do you feel the glow ray yet? They said it was going to be glow ray. It was going to be amazing. It was going to be harsh economic times, and then it was going to be glow ray. I don't feel the glow ray yet. I don't feel the glow ray yet. But this is what happens when you have a WEI president. A white, entitled, and incompetent president, a president with no economic policy that is grounded in anything that looks like an actual understanding of economic principles. This is what you get when you put people in charge who are unqualified, according to the experts, according to the people who are qualified. You put unqualified people in a position. This is what you get. Yesterday, I quoted from the Financial Times. I forgot that edition yesterday. I have today's edition with me now. But I was quoting from the Financial Times where somebody was talking about the realities of the American economic philosophy right now is Trump does something stupid, and then the people who are negatively impacted find some polite way to bow and to scrape and to fold their hands and to mealy mouth themselves in a polite way of saying that was really stupid, Mr. President, and then the president goes back and thinks of something else. That's American policy right now. WEI, white, entitled, and incompetent. This some WEI mess if I ever did see it. Whiteness is very expensive. It's very expensive. It's got you following people who have stupid, unfounded ideas. The actual economists say, hey, don't do this thing because it's stupid. It's going to produce bad economic results. But just like Biff in Back to the Future, just a bumbling along. These are not smart people. These are not, and whiteness is it is very expensive to prioritize whiteness over actual intelligence. It's very expensive. Now, according to reports, elongated muskrat is also trying to take over the FAA. I told y'all this 2 weeks ago. Remember when he tweeted something funky? You got to watch the tweets. Got to watch the tweets and watch the actions. He tweeted something funky the other day, maybe 2 weeks ago, because somebody had put out a tweet that said basically air traffic controllers are in great need right now. I remember reading this one young lady said that her father had retired as an air traffic controller like in the 90s. And he's still getting phone calls because people are like, you know more than most people right now because we don't have anybody. We were 12% of the FAA employment staff has been dismissed. 12%. I saw that on a clip out from Rachel Maddow yesterday. 12% in just a month. And so there was reports out and people were tweeting about the fact that the Federal Aviation Agency was in need of a lot of people. Elongated Muskrat, maybe 2 weeks ago, not even, puts out a tweet in response that basically is like, the American people need safety in air flight. And so Starlink and our engineers will do it. Basically, he wants all the contracts. He wants all the contracts. He wants Starlink to run the Federal Aviation Agency. And that's a really big problem. You know why it's a big problem? Well, friends, remember yesterday? Hope you can see this. You remember yesterday when I talked about the fact that there was rumors and concerns? This is the article right now in Financial Times that we're drawing from. Remember yesterday I said that there were rumors and concerns and that people in Europe were very concerned about the potential for a kill switch, the ability for the American government to basically turn off the weapons that it had sent to other nations, particularly when it came to these F-35 planes. You remember that? And then somebody had called in, even though we didn't get a chance to take their call. And then they added me and was like, this is conspiracy theory. You need not be worried about conspiracy theories because there's so many other things that we have to worry about. And that has never been proven to be true. Flat out, bitches, look at it. What does that say? Read it and weep. Europe forced to examine the future in which the U.S. switches off its weapons. An entire full freaking page dedicated to the topic because this is a real concern. And the article begins, as my papers rustle. When U.S. foreign policy abruptly changes, the aircraft remain, but contractors, spare parts, and software updates suddenly disappear. Within weeks, more than half the aircraft are grounded. 4 months later, the capital falls to the rebels. This was the reality for Afghanistan in 2021. After a U.S. withdrawal disabled most of Kabul's Black Hawk helicopters, the cascade effect was swift. When the contractors pulled out, it was like we pulled all the stakes out of the Jenga pile and expected it to stay up. The entire European continent is having conversations about whether or not they should be even purchasing American weapons. They are right now they're having a lot of buyer's remorse about this idea that they are so dependent on American weapons, because when someone like Elongated Muskrat can tell the foreign minister of Poland, which we talked about yesterday, it's my Starlink, it's my ball, it's my playground, I control the chips. You can't play here, Poland, you little small man. That's what Elon says to the foreign minister of Poland. And so people are like, wait a minute, hold on now. We done bought way too many weapons from these unstable Americans. Have you seen what's happening over there with Trump and Elongated Muskrat? I don't think they call him that, but that's what it is. Such is the debate. Such is the concern that debate has turned to whether the U.S. has kill switches to immobilize aircraft and weapons. While this is unproven, Richmond Abolafia, managing director of the consultancy Aerodynamic Advisory, said, if you postulate the existence of something that can be done with a little bit of software code, it exists. I don't know what impact this is going to have on American arms sales. I would like to imagine it's going to destroy American arms sales because American arms sales are at the root of much of the destabilization across the world. Howsoever, considering that on the next page of the Financial Times, we also have conversation about the United States and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And why are they having conversations? Well, you may recall that on the other side of the Democratic Republic of the Congo is Rwanda. And Rwanda, what are y'all doing working with the foreign? It's a whole lot going on. We ain't got time to get into it right now, but I'm gonna just tell you this. The Democratic Republic of Congo and the United States are now in talks to discuss mineral trades and weapons trade. So even though the European nations are feeling very skittish about relying on weapons that they're purchasing from the Americans, which typically I would say, okay, that's good because we don't want arms sales. And by we, I mean people who want peace, who want the world to like exist with humans on it. Like I don't want arms sales. But then I can't be happy about it because then I read about what's happening in the Congo with their conversations with the U.S. A letter to U.S. Secretary, a letter to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on behalf of Congolese Senator Pierre Kanda Kalambayi. Y'all know my tongue be colonized. I be trying, but it's difficult. Late last month, proposed that the Democratic Republic of Congo give the United States companies extraction rights for mining projects and collaborate on developing a strategic stockpile of minerals. The very same types of minerals that elongated muskrat has his eyes on in Greenland. Remember when he said he wanted to buy Greenland? And Trump be talking about how he wanted to make Canada the 51st state? It's because Canada and Greenland have these minerals that elongated muskrat needs for his spaceships to stop blowing up in the sky. Oh, and by the way, did you know another one of his spaceships blew up in the sky this week? And like another plane fell down and out the sky in Manheim, Pennsylvania? It's a lot of things happening with that Federal Aviation Agency, which might be one of the reasons why elongated muskrat is priming his Starlink company to take over it. But boy, wouldn't it be awful to have the entire aviation industry of the United States of America in the hands of a megalomaniac like elongated muskrat, who at the sign of any ketamine-induced fit might decide to turn the damn thing off. Don't do it. But anyway, back to DR of Congo. What we're now seeing is that in exchange for giving the United States potential access to the minerals that elongated muskrat needs for his spaceships, which keep blowing up in the sky, they would allow for a counterweight to China's influence and the Chinese companies that control most of the large mining operations there, because China had already been in the Congo. China been in Africa, investing in Africa since the early 2000s, if not before. And so the United States right now is trying to catch up. And even though they got Jeff Bezos over there talking about how, he going to invest because he needs his spaceship, which only been to space like once or twice, he want to invest. It's going to take 2 to 3 decades, minimum 20 years, before any of the investments in these minerals are going to produce any of the things that people actually think they're going to get profit from. It's going to take far longer than the end of the Donald Trump presidency, unless, of course, he doesn't leave, which is like a whole thing we have to worry about. Anyway, back to the international affairs. The other thing that concerns me about this is that in exchange for the minerals, the Democratic Republic of Congo is hoping for weapons to help them deal with the situation they got, because Congo been going with a lot. They have a new leader. Apparently, this was a leader who came into power as a result of a coup. There's some sensing that he might be weak, and so he wants military support to shore up his military capacity to lead. It's a kerfluffle. It's fugazi, and it's something that we need to be aware about, because the reality is right now they're ruining a lot of things. And with Europe giving the United States a side eye, the budget talks are under fire. They're not sure that they're going to be able to pass this budget, which is why they might have to do another continuing resolution. That means for us, we have to do the work of keeping the pressure on. Keep calling your senators, keep calling your congressmen, keep calling your governor. Everybody, call them all. 5 Calls app. Use the 5 Calls app. Make sure you're letting them know. Oh, and I just got information for those of you who are interested in Advocacy Academy. Talk about a topic switch. Advocacy Academy, which launches today at the Center for Law and Social Justice. Some of you called in to say, because I told y'all there were only 3 to 4 seats left for Advocacy Academy. Some of you called to say that you think that the link was messed up. I had my team look at the link. If you go to clsj.org and go to Advocacy Academy under our programs, you should be able to sign up. I believe there are 2 seats left for Advocacy Academy right now, at least. So for those of you who want to participate in the 11-week course, where you basically learn how to manifest the solutions you have for community issues and challenges, go to clsj.org. That is the law center that I run. Our Advocacy Academy Spring 2025 cohort kicks off tonight at 6 o'clock. This is an 11-week program. It is reopened. The registration is available for those of you who want to get those last 2 seats. Also, in our next segment, when we come back from commercial break, remember, we are doing not Project 2025, post-traumatic slave syndrome. We're continuing our walk through post-traumatic slave syndrome. We're going to be going into chapter 2. Maybe we'll get to chapter 3. I don't know. Probably not, because it'd be rough out here in these streets. Anyway, how much time we got left? 40. We have 40 seconds. Damn it. I was going to try to get to a call. We don't have time to get to a call. Stacy, if you say And Stacey, actually, you're calling about Advocacy Academy. Go to the website, clsj.org. If Eventbrite says it's closed now, it's because somebody got the seats already. But try it again. I don't want you to waste your time on the line. Go try it again. Refresh the page. Advocacy Academy starts tonight. 11 weeks to learn how to take your ideas for community empowerment to actually manifest them into the real world. Am I still on YouTube? Damn it. I forgot to say bye to YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. We got to go. It's commercial break time. And the man's going to cut us off because the man don't like to play around with the money. And I ain't got enough to cover it. So appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Urban View. We'll be right back after this.